All right, we just got in one of our new trucks. It's a 389 Pete. And one of the things we like to do when we get a new truck in is put our designs on it ourselves. We're going to take the schemes from this truck here. This is a 379 Pete, but it's got a 359 paint scheme on it. So we're basically going to use the same paint scheme on our 389. As you can see, all hands are on deck. Even Hank's underneath giving Jason a hand with the bumper. One of the things we have to do is pull off the bumpers, the wheels, a lot of the components off the frame to open it up to have it sandblasted and repainted. Here Jason is taking the air cleaner off and he's having a bit of difficulty with it. One of the things that I've learned from experience, there's a hose clamp right behind his hand that he hadn't pulled off. If he would have pulled that off instead of just loosening it, it would have came off a lot easier. Jason's now taking the wheels off. One of the things we do is pull the outside wheels off and we'll turn the inside one around. Now that's just to get it to the body shop. Once it's at the body shop, they will pull the wheels off completely, put it on stands to sandblast. This way, just having the extra 4 tires out of the way for them helps them out. We brought in Doug Johnson today to lay out the stripes and get the truck ready for paint.
My name is Doug Johnson. I'm a friend of Phil's, and we always get into these projects, and we're in a little different part of the shop right now. They have an ongoing business and they're washing trucks over there, so we kind of picked an area where it's dry and no one's going to bug us. And right now I guess we're in the final part of making a stripe layout to the hood. So what I did on this particular side, just to make sure that the measurements would lay out properly and we could basically leave that nameplate and the stripe will work around it. What I did is I pencil marked here, and we're going to leave this because this truck is going to Cavanagh Body Shop to be painted. And rather than give them an area with no striping here, this is basically not complicated because we're taking this section here and just bringing it straight through here. The complication on the hood is where we have to get the angle to go up over the center of the hood, and we had to accommodate for the nameplate. So we've opted, I suggested to Phil and the bunch, just we'll leave this so that the other shop can make a template or visualize what the finished product will be versus giving them a blank sheet. This is what I started working from. This was off an existing truck that Phil had. He wants the same layout, and as you can see, the nameplate, and that's how I established the angle, which gave me the pattern, kind of gave me how, and if you can this is quite a bit larger actually, the difference of the original color stripe here versus what they allowed for on the nameplate. It'll be the same effect here. To do the layout on the truck was basically pretty straightforward. Peterbilt now, they put a 2-way tape on a nameplate now, so it's a little tougher to get off. This particular area in the center is going to remain original color as it is. To get this off, you'd have to take a tool and break away that 2-way tape, which we could take a chance on scratching the paint. So what we've decided to do is we're going to leave this on and incorporate the stripe and see if we can't center that nameplate within the area of the stripe that will not be changing color. Okay, so what I did is to try and figure a way that we could make this stripe fit with the existing nameplate. Going off a photo I took of an existing truck, I made a little pattern, and what that did, it allowed me to do a layout that, if I get it here the right way, I can put this on here, and I can see where I've cut out where my nameplate should be, but it also gives me, I'll just hold that up there quickly, it gives me basically the outline of the shape and the angle of the stripe that I have to carry. So then I can take it to the other side and flip it over and basically have a pattern. So a little more time would be spent on this side to get the original. Once you do have it established, then it goes much quicker on the other side. What I'm basically doing is, I know this side fits and works good. I'm laying out the other side. All I want to do is establish the outside boundary, which would be the blue masking tape, because in effect, all this middle part will have to be removed to be prepped and laid back in. And as I said before, we're opted to leave this just so that they have an idea of what the finished product will be. And I'm going to lay out the other side just to make sure that maybe the factory put the nameplate in a different spot by half an inch, that the actual stripe layout will work on both sides. Then I'll remove the other side and it'll go to Cavanagh Body Shop, and they'll do the final preparation and the masking and start the paint work.
Fortunately for us, we have a construction company that's just down the road from us that has a huge body shop, and these guys do a great job. Now, before they put down any paint, the first thing they do is they wet the floor. This will keep the dust down that could get caught up into the paint. When you're doing multiple colors, you could get what they call bleeding. And this is when you've painted one color, you've taped it over, and then you paint the other color. So that's when one color bleeds into the other color. So before any work could be done, the bleeding has to be taken care of. These guys at Cavanagh take a lot of pride in what they're doing. Here you could see where they're fixing up a bit of line bleed, and they're preparing it for the next color. After all the work is done, the next thing is to sand down all the ridges. The last thing to do is put on the clear coat. The clear coat's going to protect all the paint. So after the stripes were put on, the next step is to take it over to the sandblast bay and have it sandblasted so we can paint the frame. Before they can sandblast the frame, they have to take the time out to cover up the cab and the bunk to make sure it doesn't get damaged. Well, we got the truck back after all the work of measuring, taping. This is the end result. I love it. It turned out great. You can't even feel the lines in it after they put the clear coat on it. After spending all that time doing the measuring, taping and that, Doug did a great job. I don't think he ran into any rivets, and if you take a look the way he centered everything, the Peterbilt emblem is perfectly centered between the lines. It turned out great.